Spanish police have made the largest ever maritime cocaine seizure from a container ship en route from Brazil to Europe in the Atlantic Ocean. Now here's a report.
Kingpin living like a king, or a ghost slipping through the cracks? A 250 million euro cocaine empire feeding a new narco state? A president's daughter, a secret marriage, or a deal with the devil? A man on Europol's most wanted list, sitting in the front pew at church? A global manhunt blocked by politics, justice left hanging? One man has stayed ahead of Europe's war on drugs, building a smuggling network across continents and hiding millions in cash and gold. Now he lives like royalty under the protection of powerful friends in West Africa, far outside the reach of the law. This is the story of Jos Leijdekkers, Bolle Jos, the Dutch fugitive who became Europe's most wanted drug lord, and the worldwide chase to finally bring him in.
Well. The global cocaine trafficking landscape has changed tremendously since Trump's dark empire, and we're going to talk about that, has taken over the entire global cocaine business for cocaine, which is all of it originating from the nations of South America. And Maduro's removal had a lot to do with this business. I say business because it's a business. It's a business that is valued at over $100 billion annually, and it is expected to increase. Just 4 or 5 months ago, Spain seized the largest cocaine shipment, right? It had 10 tons, 10 tons of cocaine in it, one ship. And that translates to 10,000 kilogram. And they said this was the biggest cocaine bust ever in terms of the amount. Fast forward another month or so, just last May, 2 months ago, Spain seized another ship which broke another record. As you saw there, we are talking about 30 tons of cocaine on one ship, okay? Now, who are the people operating this massive 30,000 kilogram of cocaine, okay? Processed, ready to be distributed cocaine? Who are the people behind it, okay? Well, for the past decade or so, 80 to 90% of this cocaine's distribution, that includes these ships carrying tons of cocaine, had been and has been dominated by the Albanian Mafia, okay? And when I published my investigative report exposing Jared Kushner's Albania project, Sazan Island, and we called it the Satan Island Project, because Epstein actually concocted this scheme in 2014 with Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem of UAE, the owner of the DP World, which operates dozens and dozens of ports around the world, port businesses come very handy when it comes to sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, organ trafficking, and of course, illegal arms and narcotics, be it heroin, be it cocaine, okay? In November, December, January, and early February to 2025 to February 2026, I did an investigative series on Jared Kushner, not only on Seyzen Islands project as a resort, which is a cover, but also on child trafficking, but most importantly, his connection to the Albanian Mafia and the ownership, right? The dominance over the global cocaine network, because Albanians have close to 90% of the control for the cocaine originating from South America. Now, these two ships were seized, okay? And as far as journalism and reporting goes, other than the headlines in the United States in English, there has been zero investigative work on who did this ship belong to? Who are and where and have been the people operating this distribution network? Where are they from? Okay? And interestingly, because of much pressure on Spain's government, right? Sanchez government, Spain yet to release, okay? It's yet to release the full report, and it's being prevented. So I don't believe we are going to see the full report. But on the other hand, bits and pieces are being leaked from the Turkish intelligence, MIT. In Turkey, it is pronounced as MIT. And we are getting more and more of a better picture of how this global network is being operated, who are the people behind it, what are the routes, okay, in this massive, historically massive cocaine operation, okay? Now, I'm going to give some broad information, right? Pieces of information based on everything I have gathered from my sources within the Turkish intelligence community and law enforcement community and former journalists. And after that, I'm going to talk about the secret meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and Turkey's dictator President Erdogan on September 13, 2025, okay? And I'm gonna tell you how it came about, and this is all documented, and it has all the confirmation by various officials that this secret / unlogged meeting between dictator Erdogan's government and Donald Trump Jr. in Istanbul on September 13, 2025 had to do about business, not much about politics. And Donald Trump Jr. was representing both Trump and Jared Kushner. What kind of business? It's a kind of a business that has to be conducted as an unlogged, your meeting with the president and the head of intelligence, okay? And their foreign office secretary, right? Hakan Fidan, right? And it's on business, but it has to remain not logged and kept secret. I would say, and you would say, you would agree, it has to be a real dark business. Because if you're talking about any kind of legitimate business, let's say business that involves the trade between the two countries, etc., they will be logged. And what kind of a position Donald Trump Jr. has? Is he an elected official? Absolutely not. Really? In what capacity a sitting president's son would go to Turkiye and he would have an unlogged business meeting with a president and government officials of another country, in this case Turkey. Think, people, think. Unlogged dark business. I'm going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But let's talk about these two ships with one 30 tons, the other one 10 tons, total 40 tons of cocaine, processed, packaged cocaine, seized near Canary Island, right, in Spain. And who were the people and are the people currently, right? They're all free. They're lurking in Turkey and in another country, Sierra Leone. With the little presentation there, you got a gist of this guy. They call him the cocaine baron of Europe. They call him the Pablo Escobar of Europe's cocaine network, right? Joseph Johannes Leijdekker, okay? But in Turkey, they call him Tombul Jos, Fatty Jos, okay? He's been around, he's been operating for almost a decade, and he has had a very speedy rise. Now, this guy, Jos, let's call him Jos, is easier. He has been on Interpol's Red Bulletin for years, wanted. Not only the Interpol, but several other the global law enforcement offices for his notorious and deadly, because he's a very dangerous man, cocaine operation in Europe, okay, distribution. And just keep in mind, I said close to 90% of the cocaine distribution shipment is under Albanian Mafia. This guy from Netherlands, Jos, he has been working with the Albanian Mafia. This is the same Albanian Mafia that Jared Kushner, right, has had business relationship, and this Sazan Island in Albania happens to be just part of that business. Now, let's go back to these ships. Interestingly, while this guy, Netherlands Mafia, Pablo Escobar of Europe, is wanted, he has been lurking free, right? 2022, 2021, 2023, 2024 in Turkey. In my previous programs, I covered how Turkey has earned global #1 position as safe haven for the most wanted, Red Bulletin wanted global criminal personalities, okay? Whether on organ trafficking or child sex trafficking or illegal arms sales, illegal arms trafficking, or the cocaine or the heroin, Turkey now has beat Dubai, right, in the UAE, as the #1 safe haven where the most notorious criminals can just go lurk free. They won't be extradited, they won't be arrested. Even if they were arrested, right, they would be released immediately, which has been the case with Jos, Netherlands Pablo Escobar for Europe's cocaine. So he's been lurking there. And after much pressure from the Interpol, he exited, this is Jos, Turkey, and settled his secondary headquarters. The first headquarters is in Turkey. He positioned his secondary headquarters in Sierra Leone in West Africa. And since then, and if you can go and yourself, you can do that, run a search, you will see that Sierra Leone has been climbing up the ladders in the past 2-3 years, thanks to becoming actually after Albania, the third most important hub outside South America for all the globally distributed cocaine. So this guy goes to Sierra Leone and he marries the president's daughter. He's married. He's living with the president's daughter there while he's on the Red Bulletin, Interpol's most wanted, DEA most wanted, etc., okay? And is operating this business. These two ships that were seized are under his network in partnership with the Albanian Mafia. But the owners and management, all the recent ships with the big bust, cocaine bust, if you go, and these are the documents that I have obtained, these are documented, and they are leaks coming from former MIT officials who have defected to other countries after blowing the whistle, or they have defected to some European countries and then have blown the whistle with documented information on Turkiye, okay, as part of this JOS, Pablo Escobar of Europe's cocaine hub. So the ownership and management of these ships shows Turkish ownership, Turkish management, okay? That's one. Now, with Turkey, despite the fact that they were pressured, they were under pressure, they refused to release JAWS and others. There are other Interpol's most wanted, some of them Albanians, on cocaine and heroin, right? Big mafia level personalities who are still in Turkey. They're not being extradited. They're lurking free. Now, I'm going to cover this on my Patreon site because this deserves its own 2 1-hour podcast, maybe three-part podcast series. But I want to now go back to Donald Trump Jr. instead of going through all the details and documents I have obtained showing Turkey as being a hub and a player, okay? And if Spain were to release the full report, which is right now under pressure by the CIA, by the Trump's dark empire, okay? By the Trump's dark empire, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., then you will see all these very clearly. But there is a question mark. Are they going to cave in and not release the full report? That remains to be seen. And hopefully reports like these, right? And also whistleblowers such as those who have come forward with information, documented information, and some really solid journalists in Europe who have been covering these. And these are journalists in Sweden, in Netherlands, okay, in Switzerland, in Germany, who have been reporting, and these are really prominent journalists, on these cases, and Turkey as a hub, and Erdogan government's direct involvement. None of these are making into the US media. That includes the US mainstream media. That includes the so-called, I call them pseudo-alternative media. That includes the fake Elon Musk and deep state designated and planted PSYOP personalities, okay? Whether it's Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Shapiro, nobody, Joe-Rogan, they won't touch this because they are part of, they are planted, okay? There are no other explanations, people. It's not as if the government here in the United States and Trump coming and putting censorship stamp and saying, hey, this is government classified information. No, they already have the pipeline for information and they know how to block it. Their plans are not going to cover real cases. They're going to give you lullaby, lots of lullaby. Some BS on this, some BS on that. It has become an entertainment, and I don't even know if the numbers who are shown as followers, are they really following these people? Are they really following? Or the numbers, are they fake? Right now, currently, you really can't tell the difference. All I can tell you is they're all fake. They are all part of the same deep state. So, Donald Trump Jr., as Jared Kushner was working on Albania and Sazan Island project with his pedophile Israeli partners and the UAE partners, and they're all pedophile, including Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, all of that. The whole network is the extension of the Epstein's network. Donald Trump Jr., on behalf of his daddy and daddy's dark empire, and Jared Kushner, that runs that dark empire for Trump, comes to Turkey with a private plane, lands in Istanbul, and has this several hour-long meeting with Erdogan and Erdogan's top officials, including intelligence, including the foreign ministry, and the business commerce secretary, on this dark, unlogged topics. Trump, as part of what he has been getting Erdogan do for him, and he has been getting a lot done. And in my previous video, I have it in English and Turkish, I explained and showed how Trump almost on daily basis praising Turkey's Erdogan as his favorite leader, closest ally, okay, very close friend. And he actually emphasizes that everything he has been asking Turkey's Erdogan is being done, has been done. No exception, none, not one, okay? But also, the United States government and Trump's dark empire, they have tons of blackmailable information on the current government in Turkey. And as Erdogan implements and does, and these are not all publicly known stuff, okay? Some of these things are dark. The cocaine operations being one, people, okay? And declaring Turkey's Epstein's file as Turkey's state secrets, government secrets, is part of those orders given to Turkey's Erdogan regime by Trump's dark empire, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr. So they have a lot of blackmailable stuff on Erdogan, and Erdogan has been doing everything he's been told by Jared Kushner and Donald Trump's, right? And their dark empire. And as a carrot, right, like a dog treat, Trump has been throwing bones to Erdogan for being a good boy Erdogan, good boy Erdogan, okay? So one of the carrots, for example, and this is documented, it has been reported, still being reported, but not via widely followed publications. These are media outlets, right? Halkbank case, the Halkbank scandal that worth $20 billion, right? Trump had Justice Department drop that case. That was a treat for Erdogan. Good dog. Okay? That's how it works, right? Carrot and sticks, blackmail and little, sometimes not very little, rewards. Well, when Donald Trump Jr. came, the dark business, one of the dark unlocked businesses discussed during this meeting, had to do with the South America's cocaine. Albanian Mafia, in partnership with Jared Kushner and his pedophile networks, UAE, Israeli networks, investors, right? This guy, Joss, who is part of the Albanian Mafia, okay, is in the same network, right? And offered Turkey's Erdogan 10% of their businesses share. So let's say I just said 80 to 90% goes to USA Black Ops, CIA, Donald Trump's empire, via Albanian Mafia. So they control 80 to 90%. The offer, the business offer, per intelligence officials, who have some of them defected, okay, to some European countries, including Germany and Sweden, and they have documented information, they have tape records, okay? Trump has given money thirsty right now, Turkish government, because their basically treasury is empty. They have gotten rid of a lot of their goals. The country is at the verge of bankruptcy. So various packages are being sent Erdogan's way, some of them via legal ways, right? Defense packages, maybe 20 swap deal, 20 to $30 billion worth. But on top of that, that's why it had to be unlocked, via Donald Trump Jr., Turkish government's heads, Erdogan's government, have been given with up to 10% of the proceeds and control over the South America's cocaine operations. Now, back to Jaws. Jaws are Europe's Pablo Escobar for cocaine. In 2024, 2025, went to Sierra Leone, and now Sierra Leone is the secondary hub, right, for these operations. And Turkiye, as a country, they never dealt with Sierra Leone, okay? Turkey never had any kind of official trade, anything with Sierra Leone. Lo and behold, after Donald Trump's Jr.'s visit, after Trump's dark empire offered, okay, up to 10% of the share and control of the global cocaine network and operations, Turkey started declaring all these deals and trades and an aid to Sierra Leone. Now, after this video, I'm going to be publishing a longer, more comprehensive video in Turkish. And in that video, you will see even more photographs because the president's daughter is with Jaws. This is Mr.'s wife. And you will see these deals and meetings between Turkish president's wife and Sierra Leone's wife, right? President's wives. And also, for the cover cocaine operation, Turkey has been sending, since the meeting with Donald Trump Jr., has been sending Sierra Leone rice processing equipments via ships, Turkish ships. The same companies and owners who own and operate, manage some of these ships, including the largest one seized by Spain. So it looks like Turkey is filling these ships with these machinery, and Turkey doesn't produce a shit when it comes to machinery. They don't even produce a single car in Turkey, right? They are sending it to Sierra Leone. And then those ships are coming back with undisclosed material. Rice? I don't think so. I don't think Sierra Leone has enough to feed its own population with the rice they have over there. Since the meeting with Donald Trump Jr. Those ships are going and coming back. No president was meeting with any dignitary, any people from Sierra Leone. They have had at least 2-3 official dignitary trips and meetings between Turkey's First Lady, Emine Erdogan, Turkey's president, and the criminal cabal that run Sierra Leone, the president and his wife, and the whole family, which is part of the Jaws' empire, Albanian Mafia, for this cocaine network. Okay, well, as I said, I'm going to have a much longer podcast on this at patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. Nowadays, because of the demand and the very important global geopolitical issues, many of my videos are in Turkish here on YouTube. But depending on the, again, demand and people requesting, I will do more English. So it all depends on you. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel. If you want to join my live shows every Sunday, I have 1+ hour live podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. I also publish my investigative work series as I have done, and you can see these investigative reports on Jared Kushner and Cezanne Island and Albania 6 months before anybody else reported it here in the United States. You will see all my publications. There are at least 6-7 podcast series and articles and links, so you can see that. And if you prefer YouTube, if you're among those who are saying, Sibel, please publish more of these videos on YouTube, open to all, I'm going to include Buy Me a Coffee link for my YouTube channel. You can go there and become a subscriber there and pay as much as you can or as much as you want, whether it's $3 a month or $5 a month, and indicate that you're requesting more of these videos in English. Either way, either I'll see you at my Patreon site. That's my home. That's my community. We have nearly 3,000 people there. Patreon.com/Sibel Edmonds. Or I'll see you here based on how much support and requests we get here for this YouTube channel. And please support me through Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you very much. Much more on this coming up in a podcast at Patreon. Have a good one.